Let me ask you something. Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and thought, why would anyone choose me? That quiet, painful voice in your head that whispers you're not enough, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not successful enough. And when that thought creeps in, suddenly every potential relationship feels like a test you're destined to fail. But here's the truth. It's not the relationship that decides your worth, it's you. And until you realize that, you'll keep giving away your power to people who don't even deserve it. So if you've ever thought, I don't feel good enough for a relationship, I want you to remember this. Love doesn't start when someone else chooses you. Love starts when you finally choose yourself. And when you do, you'll stop asking, am I enough for them? And start asking, are they enough for me? The biggest mistake people make when they don't feel good enough is that they keep outsourcing their self-worth. It's almost like they hand over the keys to their happiness to someone else and then wait around, hoping that person will unlock it for them. You wait for a reply to your message, you replay their words in your head, you cling to the smallest signs of affection as proof that you matter. And while that feels safe in the moment, it's actually the most dangerous place to be, because your entire emotional stability becomes dependent on choices, moods, and behaviors of someone else. Think about it. If their validation makes you feel high, then their silence will make you crash. That's not love, that's emotional gambling. The problem with outsourcing your worth is that it teaches you to see relationships as auditions. You walk in them like you're trying to impress, trying to prove you deserve a role in someone else's life. You ask questions like, am I pretty enough? Am I interesting enough? Am I lovable enough? But here's the truth. The moment you start auditioning, you've already given your power away. Because love isn't about proving yourself, it's about showing up as yourself. When you're in audition mode, you hide the real you. You become agreeable when you want to say no. You downplay your needs so you don't sound difficult. You silence your opinions so you won't seem too much. And in the process, you end up teaching someone to fall in love with a version of you that doesn't even exist. That's why people often feel unseen in relationships, because they never gave the other person a chance to see the real them in the first place. Here's the hard truth. No one can hand you the sense of value you're missing. Even if someone tells you 100 times how wonderful you are, you'll still secretly doubt it if you don't believe it yourself. It's like trying to pour water into a bucket full of holes. It doesn't matter how much love they give, you'll always feel empty until you patch those holes from the inside. That's why the work has to start with you. You don't wait for someone to tell you you're enough. You decide that you are enough, and then you let the right people come into your life as a reflection of that decision. The real shift happens when you stop chasing validation and start owning your value. Because the person who is rooted in their worth doesn't beg for love, doesn't chase it, doesn't compromise themselves to keep it. They attract it naturally, and they know they deserve it when it arrives. We live in a time where comparison is almost unavoidable. With just a few swipes on your phone, you can see thousands of people who seem prettier, fitter, richer, happier, and more loved than you. It's like walking into a room where everyone appears to have their life perfectly together, and suddenly you feel like the awkward outsider who didn't get the memo. That constant exposure plants a poisonous seed in your mind. The idea that no matter what you do, it's never going to be enough because someone else is always doing it better. And that's where the feeling of being not good enough really begins to grow. The danger of comparison is that it convinces you to measure your worth against someone else's highlight reel. You look at their filtered vacation photos, their romantic captions, their seemingly flawless relationships, and then you use it as evidence that you're falling behind. But what you don't see are the arguments behind closed doors, the insecurities behind the poses, the loneliness hidden under the filters. The truth is, comparison is a trap. It's not just about envy, it's about distraction. It pulls you away from your own unique value and convinces you to play a game you can't win because you're not meant to win it. You're not supposed to be them, and they're not supposed to be you. Yet when you measure your beauty, your personality, your success, or your love life against theirs, you start abandoning the very qualities that make you magnetic. You might dull down your personality because it doesn't look like theirs. You might start chasing a body type that doesn't even suit you. You might even date people you don't truly connect with just to prove you're keeping up. And what happens then? You lose yourself. You become a copy of someone else's version of happiness instead of creating your own. The irony is, the people who stand out the most in love and in life are never the ones who try to be like everyone else. They're the ones who lean into their quirks, their imperfections, their uniqueness. Think about it. Laugh you think is too loud might be the very thing someone finds adorable. The scar you think ruins your beauty might be the detail that makes you unforgettable. The passion you think is weird might be the reason someone feels alive when they're around you. But you'll never get to experience that kind of love if you keep trying to erase everything that makes you different just so you can look more like someone else. Comparison kills confidence, and without confidence, you'll always feel like you're falling short. The shift happens when you stop competing in their race and start running in your own lane. When you do, you realize there was never anything wrong with you. You were just too busy looking sideways to see how extraordinary you already are. A lot of people secretly treat relationships like they are a kind of prize. If you're chosen, you feel validated, worthy, good enough. If you're single, you start to feel like you're falling behind, like you're missing some hidden ingredient that others have figured out. But this mindset creates a dangerous illusion that love is a reward you win when you've become attractive enough, successful enough, or perfect enough. The truth is, relationships are not trophies, they're partnerships. They're not proof of your worth. They're an agreement between two people to walk a path together. And the moment you start treating love as a reward, you'll end up accepting crumbs just so you can feel like you've got something on your plate. When you see a relationship as a reward, you tend to overlook red flags because you're so focused on keeping the validation it gives you. You tell yourself, at least I'm not alone. Even if you feel lonely every single day standing next to the person you're with, you excuse poor treatment because the thought of being single feels like proof that you're not good enough. This is how people end up staying in relationships that drain them rather than ones that nourish them. They cling to the relationship as evidence of their value, instead of realizing that the real evidence of value is the ability to walk away from what doesn't serve you. Partnership means equality. It means two people bringing their strengths, flaws, dreams, and fears to the table and deciding to build something together. It's not about one person granting the other love as if they're bestowing a medal of honor. It's about shared investment, mutual respect, and consistent effort. That's why you don't just want anyone to pick you. You want the right person, the one who sees you, understands you, and chooses you not out of convenience or temporary attraction, but out of genuine alignment. Because being chosen by the wrong person isn't a win, it's a weight, and carrying that weight will only reinforce the lie that you're not enough. When you stop treating relationships like rewards, you stop chasing people who hand out attention like breadcrumbs. You stop running after those who do the bare minimum just to keep you hooked. Instead, you start holding out for the kind of connection where both of you are sitting at the table, contributing to the feast, feeding the bond, and choosing each other again and again. That's what a partnership really looks like, and when you embrace that truth, you'll realize you were never unworthy. You were just waiting for the wrong thing to make you feel whole. The right relationship doesn't complete you, it complements you. It doesn't crown you worthy, it celebrates the worth you already own. When you don't feel good enough, it's tempting to wait around for that feeling to magically disappear. You tell yourself, one day I'll be confident, one day I'll feel ready, one day I'll believe I deserve love. But that day never comes because confidence doesn't arrive through waiting, it's built through action. Confidence is the byproduct of showing up for your own life, of proving to yourself in small, consistent ways that you are capable, resilient, and worthy. If you keep waiting until you feel confident before you act, you'll be stuck in the same cycle forever, too scared to act because you don't feel enough, and never feeling enough because you refuse to act. Think about it. The people you see as confident didn't get there by sitting in their rooms wishing for self-belief. They took action even when they felt uncertain. They went on that date, spoke their mind, set a boundary, pursued their passion, asked for what they deserved, and with every step they gathered evidence that they were stronger than their fears. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build, like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The less you use it, the weaker it becomes. When you start taking action, even small ones, you begin to change the story you tell yourself. For example, maybe you feel invisible in relationships, so you practice expressing your needs honestly instead of staying quiet. The moment you speak up, you prove to yourself that your voice matters. Maybe you've been telling yourself you're unlovable, so you spend time cultivating passions, friendships, and hobbies that light you up. Suddenly, your life feels fuller, and you realize you're not waiting for someone else to bring joy. You're creating it. That shift builds a kind of confidence no one can take away from you. Because it's rooted in lived experience, not wishful thinking. The most magnetic people in relationships are not the ones who are flawless. They're the ones who are fully engaged in their own lives. They radiate an energy that says, I know who I am, I know what I bring, and I don't need you to complete me. Ironically, that's the energy that attracts healthy love, because it signals strength, independence, and authenticity. When you live from that place, relationships stop being about desperately searching for someone to fill your gaps. Instead, they become a natural extension of fulfilling life you've already created. That's how action transforms your sense of worth. It replaces doubt with evidence, fear with proof, and hesitation with momentum. When you step back and look at everything we've explored, it becomes clear that the feeling of not being good enough for relationship is never truly about relationships at all. It's about the relationship you have with yourself. Too many people hand over the pen of their story to someone else, hoping that person will write them into a happy ending. But the truth is, no one else can write your worth into existence. That has to come from you. Until you decide you are enough, you'll keep seeking external proof that never really satisfies you. The moment you reclaim that power, every relationship you step into changes, because you no longer enter them with a sense of lack, you enter them already full. It's also undeniable that comparison has poisoned the way so many people see themselves. Every scroll through social media can leave you feeling like you're behind, like you'll never measure up. But the reality is, comparison strips you of your magic. You weren't designed to be a carbon copy of anyone else. You were designed to be uniquely you, and the irony is, the very qualities you keep trying to hide are the ones that make you unforgettable. When you stop measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel and start valuing your own journey, you stop feeling like you're losing, and start realizing you've been winning all along by simply being yourself. Then there's the way we view relationships themselves. When we treat them as trophies or proof of our value, we trap ourselves in dynamics where we settle for crumbs just to feel chosen. But being picked by someone who doesn't truly see you isn't a victory, it's a prison. Love isn't about being awarded, it's about partnership. The healthiest relationships are ones where two whole people come together, not two incomplete people trying to use each other as bandages for their wounds. And once you embrace this truth, you stop begging for someone to validate you and start holding out for someone who genuinely matches the love, respect, and effort you bring. Finally, confidence doesn't fall from the sky, it's forged in the fire of action. Every boundary you set, every truth you speak, every step you take toward living a life you're proud of is another brick in the foundation of your self-worth. The more you do, the more evidence you collect that you are capable, worthy, and enough. And with that evidence comes unshakable confidence, the kind that doesn't need approval to survive. When you live from that place, relationships stop being a desperate search for validation and become something far more beautiful, a natural overflow of the fulfilling life you're already living. And in that space, the question is no longer, am I enough for them? But are they enough for me? Thank you so much for spending your time with me today, and for allowing me to share these thoughts with you. If this message spoke to you, I hope you carry it with you as a reminder that you are already enough, exactly as you are. Remember, love begins the moment you choose yourself, and from there, the right relationships will naturally follow. I'm deeply grateful for your attention, your energy, and your willingness to reflect on these ideas with me. If this touched you, share it with someone who might need the reminder too. You never know whose life you could change with a single word of encouragement. Take what we talked about today and put it into practice. Don't just listen, live it. Every small action you take to honor your worth adds up to a stronger, more confident you. That's the version of you the world needs to see, and that's the version of you that will attract the love you deserve. Until next time, thank you again for being here. Stay strong, stay true, and most importantly, never forget your value. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next one.